The next session is from Tribikram. Rath. Three, sir, as we call him, is CEO and co-founder of Moston Technologies. He is also an ex-director of the Software Quality Engineering GE Corporate and founder at Test Automation Forum. Three, sir, is a global leader, author, community builder, software quality engineer, and test automation thought leader. He is also a career coach and mentor for young entrepreneurs and startups. Today, he is going to share his thoughts on envisioning future ready quality engineering processes for your org. Okay, over to you, sir. Eager to hear what you have to say.
Ramit, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Before we start, I wanted to give a kind of snapshot of my career journey so far, because I know there are around 225 people present in this conference now. And I thought it would make sense to share my story also, in last 25 years. If I look at when I started as a developer, and then I changed my field into testing QA, I started realizing it is like, in order to become very successful in IT or digital space, you have to realize that you need to do something extra apart from your, technical skills, right? I know multi-generation tools have been kind of, we have seen, or a person or a professional of my generation might have seen. From, I think Chandra was talking about UFT, UFT1, and all those, tool sets as part of Micro Focus's offerings. I have seen Mercury Interactive's Windrunner and LoadRunner and so on, right? And then those sets of tools were acquired by HP and now, acquired by Micro Focus. I've seen that entire journey. So in front of me, I have seen how the industry has evolved from, those first generation to fifth generation automation tools, where we are talking about codeless capabilities, intelligence or cognitive capabilities in automation platforms, and so on. So since I have seen that, I thought of kind of, putting together a snapshot of my career journey. And I started realize in the middle of my career that apart from learning these technical or technologies, we also need to become a responsible professional, right? We have to think about honesty. We have to think about empathetic listening. We have to think about transparency, and so on. So the career will have two sides, right? The one side, we have to understand where the industry is heading. The other side is our responsibility as a professional, right? So if you look at the training that I have gone through down that arrow, the kind of, timeline that you see on the upper part of the slide. So below part, actually, the bottom part actually explains the type of training or type of challenges that I kind of, handled throughout my journey, starting from team building to influencing skills, presentation skills. Then I learned a little bit of foundations around leadership and so on, to grow, to a senior leader, a global leader, because I handle teams from multiple kind of, locations. We had teams in Mexico, US, China, Hungary, in Budapest, India, multiple locations in India, and so on, right? And it was not a very kind of, easy job. But I think what I did differently is I stayed focused on, the challenges, the kind of opportunities that came on my way. And it took me to a place where I can now, as Ramit was, giving an intro about myself, now I'm in a phase where I'm actually focusing on giving back to my community. I talk in forums. I also run a community called Test Automation Forum, where I invite people like you, delegates, to speak, to showcase your products. I think a couple of sponsors also already came and showcased their products. We talked about Sahi Pro yesterday. So Sahi Pro was also showcased on Test Automation Forum and so on. So if you have something to showcase, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be happy to have you on the forum and we can talk about it. I know it's lunchtime, so in order to kind of divert your attention from hunger, I thought of putting together something about my career journey and my passion, or you can say little bit of inclination towards taking some adventurous undertakings. So in 2019, I did a kind of pretty long motorcycle riding, starting from Delhi to Hyderabad back. I lived in Hyderabad for last 22 years, and early 2019, I am also part of a bikers club in Hyderabad, and we used to go for some short to medium rides, but this was my longest undertaking. So I sent my bike by transport to Delhi, and from there I started riding. I ride a Bullet, a Thunderbird 500cc, and I started from Delhi to multiple places in Chittorgarh, multiple places in Rajasthan, like Chittorgarh, Udaipur, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, which is pretty close to the international border with Pakistan. And then, via Gujarat and Maharashtra, I came back in 10 days, covering around 4,053 kilometers. So why I'm sharing is it changed my, I took a lot of learning from this ride. It changed my perceptions, how I think, how I see my life, how we can kind of, take some risk to, learn something new and, encourage people to take up a little bit risk to go above and beyond and accomplish something that is very meaningful to them, right? And as I mentioned, if you are kind of, taking some inspiration to ride, make sure you use a helmet and all the protectives. So thank you. Let's come to the topic. What I'm going to talk about in today's session is, as Ramit, gave some indication, I'm going to talk about many test automation platforms actually we saw till now in this conference, but I'm going to talk about the quality engineering process. Earlier it was QA process where, people who were involved as part of the quality assurance, they used to focus on KPIs like, different KPIs or metrics that they collect on a weekly, monthly basis. And then they review with their owner to see if they're okay or they need to initiate some kind of continuous improvement actions and so on, right? We used to work on a principle called PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. Even that is followed today. But the kind of investments that many enterprises have today, they are, I think, pretty old, maybe 15, 20, 25 years old. When we started with, software development predominantly on waterfall models, I think these quality management systems are still kind of, continuing from that age with some kind of, facelifting and all that. But I think the time has come to talk about it, to replace that. A lot of tools, platforms you see are coming up with, AI capabilities and all, but we are going to talk about how to, prepare the old quality management systems to make it a more future ready. And so that, all the tools, platforms that you have in your ecosystem, they can be meaningfully connected to it. The data can be kind of, leveraged in order to make a very smooth and predictive quality forecast capability that you can build in your quality engineering system. So that is something we are going to talk about. And in the beginning, I'll showcase some statistics that I have captured on how the internet space is being influenced through, smartphones, social networks, and so on. We'll also talk about how our day-to-day life has been changed through this digital transformation that has been happening since last many years. And We'll also have a look at the latest practices in the product development space, how digital enterprises are actually taking care of their timely release of their products, and also how they're competing with each other. And the winner is the product which is able to bring all the changes, all the response from the market, from the users on a timely manner, right? So we'll also have a look at that. We'll also talk about what are the kind of issues in the test automation space in at the current times, and we'll talk about how we can bring intelligence to our quality assurance process to make it a quality engineering process, and so on. I'll also give a kind of snapshot on some intelligent automation platforms at the end that you can consider probably to bring more efficiency to your process. With that, I'll move to the next slide. As you can see, the smartphone users in the world, the number is continuously increasing, right? And thanks to the pandemic, I think a lot of things were accelerated because of pandemic. All of a sudden, when the world went into lockdowns and shutdowns, I think everything had to happen within home, right? Foods were kind of, the groceries were ordered online, and sometimes also the cooked food or from restaurants were delivered, and so on. There are so many things that happened. People quickly moved from, the offline classes to online classes, and even the conference that we have today is, virtual conference. So many things happened virtually, right? So that way, there was a kind of, more demand on the smartphone usage as well global, right? And as you can see, the graph says by 2026, almost 100% of world population will have access to a smartphone. And the same story also you can see, if I move to the next slide, the same story you will see from the internet usage side as well as the social network, how it is influencing the digital space, the digital domain as such, right? As you know, I think we are starting our day with social network, and we are closing our day when we go to bed and fall asleep also. If you see what you did, the last activity on your mobile phone, I think that would be your social network. And social network has emerged as a platform to enable almost all type of kind of activities, be it instant messaging or digital marketing or e-commerce for that matter, healthcare, banking, travel, everything has come to social media, right? And look at the ambitious plan that Meta or Facebook, YouTube's, WhatsApp, they have, right? Banking transactions, starting from banking transactions to whatnot, everything that is coming to social network, right? And that is actually influencing the industry. And why I'm telling this story to you guys in this conference is being a tester, being an automation test engineer or manual testing or whatever type of activities that you are indulged in, you have undertaken at this point of time. One thing that we have to keep in mind is a big volume of work is coming on our way. Even with automation, even with hyper automation, even with AI, the volume of work would be huge, humongous, right? Look at the technologies like AR, VR, blockchain, AI. Everybody will be migrating to that technology. Do we have a skilled, people in the market in that volume? Not even 5% today, right? So you have to think little big on what's coming on our way and how to prepare to take up those challenges, right? Many people might be thinking that AI might take out some jobs. But I would say if you want to meet up in a kind of, lounge or something, you can also offline, you can meet up with me, outside this session. I will tell you why AI is not going to take any jobs. Rather, it is going to create tons of jobs for everyone, right? You go back even 25, 30 years back when In banks, there were no, ATMs, right? Everything was happening manually, right? And today, everything is computerized. But I see banks are more crowded than 25, 30 years ago, right? Because a lot of things are happening in bank. It is not only to just kind of, depositing money or withdrawing money. There are so many things are there, right? People are involved in credit cards, mutual funds, different type of savings, forex, and all that stuff, right? And that are happening through all these digital. In spite of that, the volume has gone so much. We need some intelligent automation there to take up that volume, right? To address the work involved as part of this technology change, or you can say digital transformation, right? And if you look at, again, coming back to our discussion around social media, the world is kind of heading towards a common or a single community, right? Gradually, the end point would be everybody will be coming to one platform, cloud, blockchain, AI, AR, VR. These things are actually influencing or changing the future, right? The way we think today, and development of this, hyper augmented reality-based applications, they are actually influencing how we can, change our usage of the mobile phones, right? Currently, you need to use your hands to operate your mobile phone, right? But where we are heading is connecting your brain to your mobile phone or to your computer without even using the hands, right? Maybe some transplant in the brain, or maybe something that can be a small chip or something that can be implanted on your eye, or you can wear a glass. You might have heard about Google Glass. So several options are even today available. Something that is going to change, and we have to think in that way from testers' perspective, how we can prepare to test intelligently those kind of future-ready applications, futuristic applications, and that to ensuring no defect, right? So story continues. We'll move to the next slide to talk about little bit about how digital transformation has changed our day-to-day life. I think even in a small tier 2 or tier 3 city, today people are using applications like Swiggy, Zomato to order their food, right? And Swiggy is successful because of many things. The way they have been understanding the market, and they have been adding the features on a timely manner, addressing the speed, addressing the simplicity, and addressing the compliance also, right? In India, getting the compliance from all the government agencies is a very difficult job, right? And getting the compliances, getting accepted by the end users, the customers, the restaurants, all that stuff has to happen at a very high speed. And you can enable that by having a high-speed development process or software engineering process as well, right? So I'm not sure the delegates who are present today participating in this great, conference, how many of them have an intelligent or cognitive or predictive quality engineering system actually in action to support a high-speed release-based product like Swiggy. Swiggy is not the only brand I'm talking about. There are thousands of them are like, Swiggy. They're in the market today, right? And they're competing so hard. So data is power, right? We have to talk about the data from customer side, the data from usage or restaurant side, the products that they're selling, the time it was taken to deliver the product. All this data has to be analyzed in a very kind of, critical manner in order to stay competitive in the market, right? So that is what I wanted to kind of, give you a heads up. When we talk about testing, we have to understand the bigger picture there. What are the challenges, right, for a product like Swiggy to become successful in the market? If we are, let's say, your company is having a similar product, I think you might be also seeing challenges like these, right? If you are scaling up, right? So the way Swiggy is scaling up, they are more than around 550, 600 cities now in India. and so many competitors like Zomato or Dunzo, maybe close to around 2 million orders in a day. Now the number is pretty old. I took this number last year, but the number might have gone up. And so many restaurants every month, around 7,000 of restaurants are being added, and so on. So if your product is very similar to Swiggy, then you need to think about having a intelligent based quality management system in order to stay competitive in the market, right? So this actually gives the problem statement, what we have to focus. And I'm on my next slide that talks about how the current software engineering process looks like. Okay, you might have a little bit of customization, but most people have kind of migrated to DevOps these days. We talked about DevOps cloud probably 5-6 years ago, and now we are practicing it really. CIOs, CTOs, CXOs, they have kind of accepted that there is no other option left. We have to invest here. We need to be very future focused by bringing all the tools into this DevOps ecosystem. And I'm only talking about the quality standpoint. I'm not talking about anything related to your collaboration or planning or coding or packaging and things like that. If you look at only testing, right, there are multiple aspects of testing. FT stands for functional testing, PT stands for performance testing, ST is for security testing. And these days, as part of your shift left and shift right, I think Chandra was talking about shift right, while talking about the model-based testing and all that. So these days, it is not only shift left, but it is also shift right. Some enterprises are also leaning towards shift right. So that means the thing that we need as part of our process is how we can bring the right balance between shift right and shift left, right? Some applications need to be tested in production also. I have seen some people run some script in production also, not a kind of volume test data they use, but some critical scenarios they run in production to see everything is fine after the deployment. And many people have also very intelligent monitoring system also that actually monitors the application performance in 24/7 basis. So DevOps brings a lot of tools also, right? As part of your collaboration, building, testing, deploying, running your implementation and all that. You need so many tools these days, right? A lot of questions were being asked. Do you have an open source tool for that purpose? There might be. For everything there is an open source tool now, and for everything there is a commercial tool also, right? But look at the system, the ecosystem that we are actually talking about. Each tool is going to give you some result, some output. But ask yourself, or the process owner of your software engineering process, do we have an intelligent process that can capture the output of these tools and platforms, right? When I say outputs, maybe let's say your testing platform, right? What you get out of your test execution, you get the pass-fails data, you get the modules that you executed, for example, your traceability data, your defects data, and so on, your pass-fail data, right? Where that data is going. You are into testing, so you are capturing that data and you are reviewing, you are taking some action, but are you utilizing that data intelligently, or you are putting that into a kind of analytics so that the data can be leveraged probably sometime down the line in a meaningful manner through some AI or something? Probably the answer is not 100% yes, right? So the point that I'm making here is we have solution to all the problems, but we are not actually integrating the data feeding in a more effective manner. We have some opportunities there because to drive speed, we are taking help of some tool, some automation tool, right? If you want to collaborate, you are going for, let's say, um, communication process. You are going for Teams or you are going for Slack, things like that. You are using a knowledge sharing like Confluence. You are using, application lifecycle management like Jira or Rally, or, a version control tool like GitHub, and so on. So each of these tools, they have some data that can be leveraged, but we are losing that data actually. And data is very, very powerful. Today's data is going to give you the power for tomorrow to improve, to stay competitive, to have granular visibility into your process, right? Identifying the risk and so on. So you have to take a kind of action here, go back and kind of do an analysis. Is our process capable of intelligently handling the data generated by these innovation tools, right? There are so many tools people are using as part of your CI/CD ecosystem, right? So we have gone very ahead. Like if you look at the process that we had 10, 15 years ago and today the process that we are into, I think it's very complex, very, very complex. Though automation speed has been achieved by many times, but I think integration and intelligence, that is yet to be achieved. So everybody is busy in kind of pulling the data together to make it a kind of very intelligent process and so on. So let's go to the next slide. What slows down our automation speed? So as I said, complexity is the biggest challenge, right? And that actually is a big obstacle in terms of understanding the impact. If any change is happening, right, are we well positioned to understand the impact quickly and address where we have to really focus from testing standpoint or identifying the risk standpoint, right, if something changes? And then lack of visibility. As I mentioned, process is so complicated through so many tools.
Is it only me who is seeing this glitch, or everybody else is finding that Trisari is not here? Backend team, uh, please check with Trisar. He's, I think, lost the connection or something. So please connect with him and try to get back. The session was going nice. So get him back, get him back. Session hour it shows. So uh, somebody saying session hour it shows. So Biju John is saying that session hour. Uh, okay, 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 okay. Hold on, guys. I will just check with the backend team. Okay, we are trying to get back, guys. Don't show me these smileys. Technology. We are checking with Trisar. Okay, here's a message. We are checking with Trisar. Okay. So I'm pretty sure that we will be back in just a couple of minutes. There's a question. No, not yet. Okay, I thought that there's a question for us. So till the time Three sir is back, ask me anything. Can we get recording of the sessions? Yes, you will, but for that you will have to wait for a week, and then the backend team will send you uh, all the recordings. I hope I answer your question, Sukesh. Okay. So, any other question? Any question? Ask me anything. Platform is open. Ask me anything. Is this first online step in summit? No, this is the third one. The first we did was in 2020. Uh, Online is third. Overall, this is the 19th summit, but all of them were offline except from 2020 when the pandemic hit us. We started doing online. This is the third online summit, and I have the privilege to host all three of them. Last year I was not well, so I had to leave after day one. Today I'm still not well, but I am holding the fort. And can we also get a presentation as well so that it can be used to refer in future what we have learned? Yes, my friend, you will get the presentations as well, hopefully. Um, I am pretty sure that they have collected all the PDFs and you will get a copy of them. Okay. Three sir is
Okay,
back.
so
You are
yes, can you
back.
hear me now? How many minutes you
Yes.
lost? I don't know actually.
We, I think, have lost 3 to 4 minutes, 4 minutes probably. Okay. So you can,
Okay,
I think you were showing
all right.
us some process.
So
Yes. Okay.
which
Over to you,
slide
sir.
was that? Okay, so if you want me to give a quick you know uh, uh, recap on what I just explained, today's software engineering ecosystem is getting very complex, right? In order to bring speed, we are bringing so many tools, be it collaboration tool, be it build tool or source code control tool, and so on. There are so many tools in the ecosystem, and we have to check whether our process is capable of taking the data that each of these tools are actually creating, the pass fill data or the build data or the collaboration data, and feeding that to a intelligent platform, right? We have to do a kind of check on that today. And then in the next slide, I talked about why automation is not gaining speed, right? If you are suffering from the slowness, probably the reason would be falling under these three categories: complexity, lack of visibility, and lower, no or late decision-making capability in your process. So complexity is the complexity around the functionality of the applications, and lack of visibility is probably QA team is clueless on where to focus to apply automation first and then prioritize automation for next, and so on, right? So we have to kind of identify why things are really slow, right? And then uh, I was talking about this slide when probably I got disconnected. Quality, and we talked about, we started our waterfall, right? Waterfall and testing, everything around our testing, we are building more or less, we are the ecosystem, and being the instantly the deploys to be tested instantly. Gradually, we're moving to AI-assisted continuous data, right? Which is your seeing where we want to bring the quality, identifying the risk on a timely manner, and that to best product and insights, right? Because most of the times we architect of a product, design product in, but if you use, there would be minor tweak in the use, right? Minor change in is using that option. So it has to be studied effectively. That's why the shift right is also coming into picture, right? Shift right to see if it is being used by your customers, right? What kind of performance they're experiencing and what they're doing, what kind of customization they're doing in order to deal with that performance issue or things like that. So the traditional quality management system is no longer relevant, right? We cannot have the same KPI-based or metric-based, process. Let's say the defect density, right? In a particular month, we saw that defect density has gone up, and then the QA manager actually asks the team to go and do a analysis why the defect density has gone up, right? So they have to initiate that action, the investigation manually, mostly, right? And they will, depending on their experience and capabilities, they will come back with certain recommendation that this is why the defect density has gone up, and these are the actions that we'll be taking. So there would be 60-70% of areas they might be right, or maybe a little less or more they will be right. But there is some opportunity there in order to bring the root cause, the right root cause, the correct root cause on why a particular number is so high or low. And there should be some kind of, support from your system automatically from the process that, hey, your defect density is high because it was not tested probably properly through your unit level or integration level, or some other root cause is there. And this is what is the evidence. And this is what is the risk, right? Everything should be linked together to pinpoint to where things went wrong. Depending on that, your team can prioritize where the automation has to be applied or where the testing has to be more focused, more concentrated, right? And we also saw a couple of demos yesterday, probably on talking about self-healing kind of capabilities in automation platforms. I think that is also a futuristic, characteristic of a automation platform. We are gradually heading to becoming autonomous. The process has to also become autonomous, right? Our QE process, the quality engineering process, should drive, the change approval process with predictive abilities by leveraging some data from our, ecosystem. I'll move to the next slide, and this slide actually gives you some ideas on where you should look at improving your quality assurance process to make it a quality engineering process. So you need to look at the software quality analytics. Do you have an analytics system in place today, or it is purely like Excel based or a database based kind of KPI process or metrics collection process? You have to think about that. You have to do some investigation, because AI is definitely going to be driving all the decisions related to software products health, overall health, right? We cannot continue to have manual checks as part of the different toll gates in the software development process. I think volume is going to be pretty large, and we cannot do that manually effectively. And then software quality intelligence has to be kind of, also carefully studied so that we can concentrate our testing efforts to, apply it where actually it matters the most, right? So that can happen if you have intelligence around the software quality. So you have software quality analytics you need to enable. Then your software quality intelligence will be helping you to tell you where is the maximum risk and where the application has to be tested more thoroughly, right? So where you need to focus, on testing side more. And then if your organization is into multiple products, enterprise applications, and they have a testing center of excellence kind of thing, then you have to definitely work on the enterprise-wide quality engineering policies that has to be enforced. People have to understand what would be the frequency of data, what would be the right point to take the data, and where to kind of feed that data into, and so on, right? Everybody should use that common process.
Sir, we will need to wrap up
I
very
hope I'm good
quickly.
on timing. Yes, this is probably my last slide, and sorry for the delay if it has already delayed the thing. But my last slide actually recommends that it's time now for us to think about a AI predictive governance process as part of our quality engineering process. And all that data, maybe yellow, green, red data, whatever pass, fail, warning data, that has to go to the predictive governance AI-based thing, and that will help our CTOs or CXOs to understand what's going on as part of the process, both from testing side as well as the rest part of the software engineering side, right? Planning phase, build phase, test phase, release phase. The way you need to have a kind of digital dashboard in your car, right, to understand how your car is performing. Do you have enough oil, enough petrol, enough gas, and do you have the right level of tire pressures and things like that? These days everything is digital, right? So the same way you need to have the similar visual based QE process, quality engineering process, to make sure your system is healthy, the products that are being developed using your process also are healthy. So that was my last slide, and these are all some recommendations if you want to take a relook at your process and consider something. We talked about Worksoft process intelligence yesterday, ALM. We talked about some more tools that you can consider to bring more automation into your process. And last not the least, this is a little bit of about Mostain. We primarily focus on quality engineering services spanning over AI testing capabilities, continuous testing, automation capabilities, application performance also we do, and application security testing. We also have a small team that can help you doing product engineering services. So if anybody has any questions around our service capabilities, please reach out to me or people who are available in the booth. Will be more than happy to welcome you. So with that, I would like to finish it up. Ramit, over to you. Thank you so much.